A smallie! Dude, that's a smallie. That's a mean smallie, son. First fish at Lake Douglas is a smallmouth. Look at this. It's a chunk. That's a chunk. That's the ones we need. Right in the back. So you didn't see it real good. It's a chunk. Nice. About it. Pretty fish. He hammered it. Nope, he ain't gonna keep. We're around a populace though. It's good. He ain't gonna keep. Nope, I'll take that one. That's a good one. That's a good one. So, realistically, midday update, we know they're eating spinnerbait. We know we can get them on top water early, and they're rounded points. It's got to have chunk rock on it. The problem I have with that is we're only getting bit like once here, once there. Now, where we started this morning, we got bit multiple times. Now, it could be a thing where right off the bat in the morning, we're going to have to hit all that stuff, as quick as possible. But, if you're catching the same size fish, I don't want to burn all those points up. I really think that the fish are kind of scattered. You've got some that I think the majority are done spawning, like they're done. That's ones I'm catching are probably the waves coming out. So I'm gonna start adjusting and kind of like sticking out towards more of the main lake draws, if you will. This lake has a lot of deep fingers that just go in and fan out everywhere. And I think, and the problem with that is, man, I mean, I could see some fish on side imaging here or there all the time, but throwing to them, like, they're real tight to rock, and you don't get the best image of them. It could be catfish, could be drum, could be a bunch of crap, but we know we're getting bit with a spinnerbait. We know we got bit on the jig earlier, several times. That one color, I switched out colors to a green flash jig, is what I call it, so we're gonna keep covering water. We're gonna keep looking. Man, I didn't really see too much of a shad spawn this morning. To be honest with you, I ain't really seen that much shad to begin with, so we're probably gonna start idling all these points and bouncing back down. All this fingers I just idled, and a lot of it's sandy. So we're gonna finish up the day making our way back out of the pockets and start to get ready to adjust for tomorrow a little bit. If I see some good rounded points, I'll start checking them. I'm trying to eliminate this lower half down there, and I can start going to the upper half. It's really not that big of a lake, truthfully. So it comes down to just kind of covering water too. That river system up there just don't look sexy enough for me, and the guy's probably gonna crush them up there again, but don't know, it just don't look sexy enough for me. So I knew there'd be one there, Neil, and that's a good one. What do you got? I got one on. I knew there'd be one there. If you watch that, hey John, clip that for Neil. Yep, that's the way it is. Dude, there's a dock that got blown off the hinges, and it's laying up on the bank. And I literally looked at it, and I turned around. I was like, man, there ought to be one on the backside of that bank, or backside of that dock. And I flipped that spinnerbait in there and slow rolled it through, and I seen him come out and eat it. And I was like, yeah, here we go, baby. I feel good about it, but I'm telling you, man, this game, it's gonna come down to a game of ounces. I mean, Neil, I've got probably caught 12 fish today. I've got 4. This is my 5th. And this one's, I've got 636 for 5 right now, if that tells you anything, man. I'm not even kidding about this. So I can hear this guy talking across the cove over there, and he's called somebody, and he just told them, I caught several fish in this pocket. And he said he's part of the way back. He's got a wrap boat, and he's on the left-hand side. I can hear him clear as day. I'm not making this up. I'm serious. That ain't no bad. It is. It's a big one. Molly. Man. Man, these smallmouth are mean. Smally. Ooh, not good. He might not make it. He snapped at it and caught one, popped a dome piece. For real. Beautiful smallmouth though. These people are jamming. Back to the spinner baits, man. Think he would have kept. Female post bomb. I mean, it was productive. Don't get me wrong today. It was very productive to an extent of what not to do. So I decided to go ahead and go up this river, and they said it was, you know, a lot of floating debris. Somebody told me yesterday, oh, there wasn't any out there. Bull. There is a ton of it floating. Now, there might have not have been this much yesterday during the day, but there's a lot, let's put it that way. So what I'm gonna do is, there's actually a really good looking area over here to the left, not far from the ramp. I'm gonna let it get a little bit lighter before I start going further up the river today. I wanna go check out the river today, simply because, you know, you gotta fish all places of this lake. I think a lot of guys were up here yesterday, probably, and then tomorrow they're gonna go down there. I've seen some guys going up today, some guys going down. So our goal today is to fish this up here and break this apart up here, break this down as much as we can. Day 3, we will decide where we want to go start our day. Where are we going to start day 1? Where we want to fish the tournament. So, yeah, lots of debris floating up here. Now, some of it will ruin your day and end your day. Some of it going dingy dink. Like I know I heard a little one go off the bottom of the keel guard a minute ago. But we're going to start our day in here. Absolutely gorgeous sunrise again this morning, as y'all can see. Good Lord gave us some light on the water to see what was going on. So we're gonna run right into this pocket up here, and we're gonna start breaking stuff down up here. A lot narrower up here when it comes to the width of the lake. So where am I going with that? It can condense your fish down all into so many areas, okay? When you were fishing and you have areas that are all big fingers, like I was fishing yesterday, they could be anywhere up here, don't get me wrong, but there's only so many places these fish have gone into spawn and are coming out, so it allows us to target them a little bit easier, okay? I can already see fish blowing up on this point up here. Well, I see fish jumping or blowing up, one of the two. They're still a little ways out, but, you know, with that being said, you know, you gotta be smart. You can't take a risk and end up tearing something up in practice. I can't do it. I don't think anybody can. I'm just saying I can't afford to do it. Because no pesos. Might fish the way I wanted to fish, and within that week, man, I remember asking him on the phone, like, man, you good? Like, is everything good? Like, you know, we haven't talked in a while. Like, how's life going? You know, like, for real, how's it going? Because sometimes, you know, our always response is like, yeah, oh, I'm good. Right here at the boat, man. Okay. So back to what I was saying, you know, like, yeah, I'm good, because that goes back to that driving part. Right? We drive ourselves to constantly just push. And these fish up here are mean. So we drive ourselves to push. 3 days later, he commits suicide. It hurt. It hurt. Because I feel like I failed him. You can see it still chokes me up. Because I should have been there more. Sometimes there's nothing we can do about it, but we got to do the best we can. So what I'll tell you is, you know a veteran, reach out to him. Just talk to him. Everybody goes through everything in life. That's where I'll leave that one. Check that one out. I tell you, it's a lot bigger than what meets the eye. Look right there. That's my point. I mean, I'm not making this stuff up. I hit the right side of it, then I hit the left side of it. And there was one on it, because I felt myself hit the limbs on the left side. That tree's a lot bigger than what it looks like in the water. And there was one on it. Let's measure him real quick. Let's get him on the boat. Gotta be quiet. Shh. Oh yeah, keep it. Well, keep it. That's our fifth. Let's keep him in the bottom. Shh, don't tell nobody. Good one. Well, I don't think he'd have called, but he's a 1.5 pounder. There's a fish. Big bass. Big bass on the bank right there. Oh, I got one right here. Big one. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Everybody thinks I'm probably losing my mind. All right, let's start off the morning. I'm still waking up. So we've had 2 full days of practice. We've had all kinds of conditions changing. I mean, what I mean by conditions changing, you know, the lake's coming up pretty quick. I seen they let some water out yesterday. They actually opened the gates up quite a bit last night. I saw later, and they were letting water out. So my big thing is like, this is day 3 of practice, okay? We have an off day tomorrow, so I'm not too like concerned with like if I hook something today. To be honest with you, I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal because you have a full off day, and I don't know how everybody else fishes, but a lot of people are probably, you know, hooking fish the day before. I typically don't like to. If we didn't have an off day, I wouldn't be hooking anything. But with that being said, yesterday we went up north on the lake into the river system. We caught a little better quality up there. Conditions, I think, are a little bit better for, you know, how I'm catching them. You know, caught fish off and on all day. And, you know, the big thing I think is, you know, what I did all my damage on, you know, was not this spinnerbait, but another one I have that has gold and nickel for blades. And it's one that was made specifically for me. I've got more coming. I destroyed 2 of them, so I've got more coming. Supposed to be here today, so we'll see what goes on. But you know, it was a 3/4 ounce Hill Gnarl Blade spinnerbait with gold and nickel blades on there. It's a, you know, white and short truce. I really like that color pattern, you know, for a lake kind of like this. You know, it's got chalky water to it, straight bank, meaning that, you know, there's really no change in the bank except for you know, what you see. So like these dudes right here are gonna be a great limit. I think that you're gonna have to honestly catch about 13 pounds to be doing something. I think yesterday, well, I know yesterday we had about, we had 12 pounds yesterday. I got one. We're going out. Back to where you were. Go back to where you were. All right, everybody. So pretty much, let's not fall over. You know, it's going to wrap up practice here at stop number 3 of the NPFL series here at Douglas Lake. I've been all over Douglas Lake the last 3 days, and you know, for me, I mean, I was getting a certain bite. You guys, hopefully this, you'll see, hopefully it comes together in tournament and I come home with a shield. But, you know, realistically, I caught all my fish on a Hill Gnarl Blade spinnerbait. I mean, keeping a moving bait in my hand and covering a lot of water. And what's the killer is that you get one here, then you get one here, then you get one here. And it's very random, but there's one particular thing that is the same case scenario, and that's they're all on rounded points. So as you head into a pocket, let's say, imagine like a rounded point sticking out, and then it's straight bank, rounded point, straight bank, rounded point, okay? Wherever I've gone all over this lake, I went up the river yesterday, as you all probably seen a little bit in practice there, and you know, I was catching fish. I've caught lost smallmouth. The topwater bite was fast and furious on the south end day 1, so day 2, I tried it, didn't get bit, went to a spinnerbait, got bit. You know, and seen a lot of good shad spawning areas day 2 and day 1. You know, really day 2, I seen probably some of the best shad spawn that I've seen since I've been here. So I think that, you know, today's practice, we were going to areas on the lake, except for this morning, as you've seen. I started off up there. You heard how tired I was, and I was like stumbling through words. But starting off in that area, I mean, I caught several fish. I think that north end of the lake up in the river system is going to play better. Here's my big problem. The bites are so random. I haven't run into like big ones. I had like 9 and some change day 1, I think, finishing up after, you know, everything. And the day 2 had 12 pounds, probably 1202, 1201. And then, you know, today, I mean, I caught some fish on, you know, on the spinnerbait again, but I was really hitting areas that I wanted to make sure I didn't miss something. We idled around a lot offshore today. I found fish offshore. They're just not eating. And, you know, a lot of it could come down to, you know, those bite windows. You know, I'm not out there looking offshore during those bite windows because I'm keyed in on what I'm doing in the mornings, you know, relatively shallow. I mean, I'm catching a lot of my fish in that 3 to 7 foot of water, you know, and just covering water. I mean, covering as much water as I can, keeping the trolling motor on like 7, and I'm not sponsored by Ionic batteries. And hey, Ionic, if you see this, this is a freebie for you. I would love to do something, but I've got 3 125-hour amp troll batteries in the back of this boat. I'm gonna pull up right now as much water as I've been flying around all day covering today, and these batteries are bad mamma jamma. So, you know, during tournament day, we're just going to, you know, put the trolling motor on 6, and we're gonna cover a lot of water, man, and get after it as much as we can, and hopefully get up to that 12-pound mark, because I really think 13 pounds every day is gonna put you pretty far up there. Somebody's gonna catch a 15-pound bag, somebody's gonna catch a 17-pound bag, but 83% out of all the trolling I've been doing all day with it on 6, covering water, slinging, okay? So with that being said, you know, we're gonna have to try to get to that 12-pound mark every day. It's gonna be a grind. I just haven't caught, you know, anything bigger than, you know, like 285. I mean, you know, so I just haven't run into some of those. I've seen them cruising the banks, no joke. I've seen some big ones, but they just haven't committed. So we got a lot of changing conditions on this lake. It's come up, I think, 2 foot since we've been here. So the water's rising. You know, they were drawing current, then they stopped drawing, and today is a complete opposite. We have hardly no wind. They haven't been drawing current today, and the bite has just been doo-doo cheeks today. And I mean, but then again, I was fishing a lot of areas that I hadn't really, you know, that pattern that I'm doing, it's really not like, that area is really not similar to what I've been doing. It's just been one of those things I gotta go eliminate it to ensure that I didn't miss something. Still caught fish in those areas. Every time I pick up a spinnerbait and I just start cruising water, you know, run into one. And I think that's gonna be really important. I don't think this tournament's gonna come down to, I'm gonna drive to this spot, I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and I'm gonna get, you know, a bag together on this spot, or 3 spots like this. But the only thing that's been going for us is those rounded points, you know, with a lot of chunk rock on them. I have drug, you know, baits until I'm blue in the face, and I've caught maybe 3 jig fish, Carolina rig, nothing, you know. So, man, it is what it is. We're gonna put it on the trailer now. We're gonna go reset. We got an off day tomorrow. We were supposed to have a benefit tournament for Chad Poteet. He's got ALS, and it's so tragic, you know. It reminds you that life is very fragile, and you know, I just do not take this for granted being out here every day, for real. I am living every day like it could be my last day out here, and I want to say thank you so much right now to all my sponsors. Guys, I tag all my sponsors in there, and you know, right now, you know, what I will share with everybody is you just never know how your season's gonna ever turn out. You know, I mean, economic things happen, sponsors can come and go, and you know, we're halfway through the season, and you know, I've got you know, I'm talking with title sponsor and stuff to see what's gonna happen next year. So what we're focusing on, what's on here and right now, and that's all you can do. And that's why I say I'm living it like it could be my very last day. I mean, I have got great people around me, and I have no doubt that we're gonna get it figured out. And but you know, I mean, things happen, things change, and I'm just grateful to be here. And I can't stress this enough, anybody watching this. The biggest adversity you're going to find out for anybody when you make the jump to professional fishing, you're gonna get a ton of haters that are out there. It doesn't matter if you give them $1 million, they're still gonna talk crap to you. People don't wanna see people be successful these days, unfortunately. And you know, you're gonna have to put yourself out there. And when you put yourself out there, you open yourself up for a lot of controversy, just people hating you. You have to have a lot of courage and a lot of personal fortitude, and just be ready for the haters. Everybody's got them, okay? Everybody's got them. And, you know, because in this sport, I put posts and stuff out. I said one the other day, you know, I think that it's a people problem anymore in this world. And somebody's going to comment once again on this YouTube post and Facebook, and you're a weenie, you don't know what you're talking about. And that's fine, man. You know what, though? But I love each and every one of y'all out there that's watching this video. And people are going to be like, oh, you're just kissing butt. No, I'm not, because the world is so full of hate. I am one of those anglers that if I have a buddy that's competing with me and he crushes them and I don't, I'm gonna go shake his hand and say, congratulations, man, good job. And I'm gonna be sad that I wasn't there, but I'm gonna be so happy for him, or, you know, even her. So with that being said, we're gonna wrap up practice. We know what we're gonna do. Tomorrow we're gonna get everything cleaned up. We got some good storms that's gonna come in tonight, so I'm gonna put the strap system in the boat tonight and get everything locked down, because we're gonna get some heavy rains, it looks like, and it's gonna be rainy, cloudy all day tomorrow, and that's gonna change a lot. Thoroughly enjoyed being on Douglas Lake practicing. I mean, I've had a good practice, and the bites are random. I've caught a lot of fish, and we gotta leave it lay where it lays. At the end of it, man, this is how I look at it. We've had a very productive practice, and if we don't run into some big ones to get us up there, hey, that's the way it is, because we figured out what we needed to do. I can't catch your fish, you can't catch my fish, so blessed to be here by the good Lord, and I will never take it for granted. So let's go put it on the trailer, everybody. There's one. That's a good one. Yep, we're gonna need that one. Yes. It's our post spawner. Look at that, fell out. That's why I was wrenching. Stop. Stop. Smaller. I'll take it. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Oh yeah, thank you, Lord. That's the ball, baby. Yeah. That's what we're gonna need today. That's what we're gonna need. We're gonna need those for 3 days. Let me get this off. Yeah, thank you, Lord. Ow, she bites. Ow, she bites. I don't know if he's, yeah, he'll help. Lord, thank you, Lord, thank you, Lord, thank you, Lord. Another one. This might be a big one or a smallmouth. Oh, big one. Big one. Yes. Thank you, Lord. Bam, baby. Thank you, Lord. That's what I'm saying, man. We just gotta like keep hammering. Look, she's getting ready to spawn. She's still got eggs in her. I don't know if he's gonna help.
Right here, Jackson Lewis, Watson Marina Pro from Jasper, Texas. How about it for Mr. Chad Marler? And he is fishing, as always, for the family back home, and he's gonna make y'all proud, as he always does. Represent the great state of Texas and all the fine folks there. Class act right here. He's got a great guide service down there in Texas, folks, so you look this gentleman up. 5 in a bag here at Douglas Lake, stop number 3 of the NPFL. Here in Dandridge, Tennessee, 12 pounds and 9 ounces. Show us what you got, brother.
Lord. Yes, thank you, Lord. Ooh, baby, it's gonna be close, thank you, Lord. are slowing down in here, man. That's gonna help tremendously. You can get one like that. It's gonna help. Clear my phone because it's telling me to work out, or asking me if I'm working out, and I guess yeah. Okay. Easy. Come on, little dude. Yes, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. That's the ones we need. Thank you, Lord. I don't think he's gonna make it though. He's gonna be too small. Well, he's a mean one. There we go. Finally. Oh, it's a good one. Probably gonna help. Yes. Maybe. Maybe. Be a good late day call.
Jackson Hill Parks and Marina Pro from Jasper, Texas. How about it for Chad Marler? All right, Chad, come on, buddy. I'll get it, man. How about them apples? Once again, folks, a big shout out to Lauren Hurdle, Lee Koza, Skylar Hamilton, and Marissa King for everything that they've done here to bring this event down here with the NPFL. We will be back down here for years and years to come. We love the community down here. 5 in the bag for 9-10, a 2-day total of 22-3. We got a hop, skip, jump, blow by this way, blow by that way, and catch a big fish tomorrow.
Take him one. You gotta be 12 inches. I hope he's 12 inches. Help. Stop, dude.
How about it for Chad?
Yeah, we'll see y'all up there. Hey, hit me up when we get back. Yeah.
All right, my man, look at that. High wire, 22-3 on the first 2 days. Another 5 fish for the Texas Pro Guide Service down there on Sam Rayburn. You got to check them out, folks. 9-2 for a 3-day total of 31-5. If this is still a great weekend for the Marler family because your beautiful daughter graduated high school.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I had 2 come on button today that would have no doubtably helped, and you can't just not execute on a lake like this with this amount of talent. It's gonna happen, but today was my day. But yeah, like you said, Al, I'm ready to get back home, enjoy the graduation time with my daughter and see my family. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Average Fisherman. So we're gonna do a quick little, you know, kind of like debrief of Lake Douglas. So, you know, going into this event, we knew that we were gonna have a lot of changing conditions. We had basically, you know, the water was rising. The previous weeks leading up to Douglas, the water was rising. And, you know, looking at, you know, the tournament results from like local little derbs that were there, you know, we kind of figured that you're gonna have, you know, on an average about 12 and a half pounds a day, probably 12 pounds a day to win. That would give you a little bit of wiggle room. So, you know, heading into the event, you know, we got up there, and when practice started, just kind of recapping, you know, we went south day one and looked at a lot of transitioning areas, and I was catching a lot of fish that were post spawn coming out of those areas. And I was catching all my fish on, you know, real good rocky rounded points. You know, a big bait for me in practice. You know, I started off the morning with a topwater bait, just walking a topwater bait, you know, really ka-chunking it along. It was catching some good fish on it. And then as the event kind of went on, I mean, as practice kind of went on, realistically, the topwater bite just started dying. You know, we had some cooler mornings coming in. You know, the shad spawn was, you know, absolutely amazing in several areas, but I didn't catch a lot of bass around my shad spawn areas. So with that being said, the fish I did catch around them, they were all pretty much getting, like, they were only feeding subsurface. They didn't want to come up and bust topwater. So, you know, day one, we kind of started, we stayed in that south end, we covered a lot of water. The number two bait that I was doing a lot of damage on was a Hildenaro Blades spinner bait. You know, it was a spinner bait for me that was specifically designed. I asked for this setup and this kind of sequence of blades on it. So I'll tag them in the description below, but you guys have seen me whipping it around in the video, or you did, and you see me kind of talk about it a little bit. But it's a chartreuse and white one. It's got a gold blade up top. It's got a nickel blade, you know, on the upper part of it. And, you know, it's a 3/4 ounce spinner bait. I really caught a lot of good fish on it, and it is absolutely hands down a spinnerbait for me that I absolutely love. It's hand tied, it's got a heavy duty wire, and I'm just beating the snot out of it off rocks and logs and everything, and it held up very well. So practice day one kind of wrapped up on that south end. You know, we had about 9.5 pounds day one, you know, fishing those rounded points, those, you know, those tapering areas, post spawn areas. And, you know, keeping in mind that we knew that the water was going to come up. It was continuing to rise very quickly. So day two, we went up into, you know, the river system up there. It was really dangerous, as you can see through practice and the event. You just had to be really careful and be smart, be very smart. So we started up there day two, and we found an awesome shad spawn. We already caught what we had caught that morning, you know, pretty much all day on the south end, you know. So that morning I caught my weight and then some. We ended up with about 12.5 pounds on day two, and we were just going, and we kept that spinnerbait in our hand all day. We were covering a lot of water, you know, looking for the rounded points, and even a quarter of the way around the rounded points on each side. But I was keeping tactically in mind the water was going to continue to rise. Okay, so I had identified some areas that had some real good bushes in them, some real good structure that I would thought about flipping. And we just basically covered, you know, most of the northern section up there on day two. And, you know, we really started doing a little bit of flipping day two. And I noticed that they weren't quite in the bushes. And you kind of hear me talk about how it takes a couple days for them getting the bushes during practice. So, you know, keeping that in mind, we were approaching it from a standpoint of, we know where the fish are now, but as that water comes up, day two and day three of the event, they're going to start getting in these bushes. So, you know, day three of practice, we just kind of went out and really wrote some stuff off that, you know, we want to check on. Now, I found fish offshore. I couldn't really get them to eat anything. I mean, I tried. I found some big groups, and a lot of guys caught their fish offshore day one, which was good for like 15 pounds, 14 pounds, things like that. But I didn't want to focus just on one school offshore because the lake conditions were changing so much. So day 3, you know, we looked at some offshore stuff a little more, and then we just started marking areas that the bushes would be applicable during the event, okay? And meaning, you know, that we were gonna be able to flip them. So day 1 going into it, man, we went out, we went up north, we stuck to our guns, and we had a great sack. We kept ourselves in, we were in 25th heading out on day 2. And you know, day 2, I knew was gonna be a day that it was gonna be a lot tougher with the conditions. We have had a major cold front every single event that we have fished. And day 2 was a wicked cold front. It was 49 degrees that morning. It was chilly. You know, the winds were, you know, a lot, you know, they didn't start blowing until later in the day. Then it got rough. But for the most part, you know, we kept that spinnerbait in our hand and covered a lot of water and tried to find aggressive fish, and it started slowing down later in the day and just trying to grind to that 10-pound mark, because I knew how tough it was going to be post cold frontal. And we got to where we kind of wanted to be. We fell down a little bit, but to be honest with you, you know, we really weren't out of it. We were like less than a pound out of check range, real good check range. And you know, so we stuck to our guns, covering a lot of water with that spinnerbait day 2, you know, starting to flip a little more, slow down in areas. And, you know, we kind of got on game plan with what we were wanting to do. Would have liked a little more weight day 2, but that's okay. We were happy with what we had. Day 3, I took a risk that morning. I took off, you know, 51st or 52nd that morning. And, you know, a lot of guys all ahead of me, they all went to the river system. And I thought, well, you know, I know it being day 3, these fish are gonna really start getting in the bushes. And by the time I was able to take off, I was gonna miss that real quick early morning bite on day 3 that, you know, was pretty deadly for everybody. So I ran south, took a risk, fished 2 areas, caught my 2 fish real quick, and then I took a real big roll of the dice, and I went into a place called Mud Creek that I looked at in practice, and I knew if the water got up, it could be just a place you might have to yourself, and it could be dynamite. I caught 1 fish out of there, and then I lost 1, and that's the only bites I got. So we hurry up, switch gears, because in my gut it was like, Chad, head north. It's, you know, you got to get up north, and that's where you're going to spend the rest of your day. And we were just waiting tactically for that sun to get up a little bit. It was overcast that morning, and we had a lot of, you know, considerable cloudiness that morning, where, you know, the sun wasn't going to really push them in the bushes quite yet. And, you know, so we finally got up there a little after 9-ish. We made that move, got up there, and, you know, right off the bat, man, made a good call, got up there, started catching fish. Now, I'm going to tell you all this. I am not angry at the finish I had. I am not angry about losing 2 very good fish, over 3 pounds. I seen them. You know, they popped off on day 3, and that would have given us a check. I did the math. I'm more upset at myself. Just, you know, you're always going to get upset at yourself. Look, it's tournament fishing, it's bass fishing. They're going to pop off. It's going to happen, and it just happened to be that day was my day to have them come off. So with that being said, I look back at the event as a whole on day 3, and man, I made the right calls. And you know, going back, I'm not allowed to watch any of the live or anything during the event, but going back and looking at it, there were an immense amount of guys that lost fish on day 3. A lot of fish. I wasn't the only one. Now, that's not an excuse. I'm not making an excuse for myself, okay? I changed up things, you know, went to heavier line. I didn't really want to flip with braid where I was at, because it really wasn't dirty enough in some areas. So, you know, I went to like a 7'5" hammer by Stick 5 rods with 17-pound test of Braze X, and it still didn't really matter. Those fish, I think really what was happening is they were seeing so many lures when you'd flip in there, you know, and I mean, they come out and hit it a lot pretty quick. And I don't care how much you reel down on them, if you took too long reeling down because they were coming at you to set the hook, they'd hurry up and spit it out. You know, I was going to my toes on some of these fish, and they were still popping off. And I think the reason being is because they seen so many lures that they were running out there and grabbing it and barely holding on to it. And then when you set the hook and they'd come up, they had it in their mouth, and they just open their mouth and it'd come out. You know, so really there wasn't many things that I could have done to change what was going on, you know, except just kind of accept the defeat a little bit. We made some changes, and it really didn't help. And, you know, we fought all the way to the end. And when I look back at the event, I made the right calls. I've never been on that lake before. Didn't have any pre-practice time. Just couldn't do it. Couldn't necessarily afford to get up there and go pre-practice. So I look at that, back at that event, and I mean, it was tight weights all the way through, and losing those 2 fish would have, definitely put me into that 13-pound range, 13 1/4, I think, when I did the math off the scales, kind of guesstimating about what they weighed, like underestimating it pretty good. We had got definitely a good check out of that event. So I'm not mad. I'm more or less just, I guess you could say, just kind of a little butt hurt, but that's going to be part of it. I need to pick the boo-boo lip up and tuck it in and get going. So, but man, looking at the event, Douglas is an absolutely beautiful place. I have no doubt with the right management, proper management of that lake, and they've continued to get it cleaned up. In the next 5 years, if they properly manage the bass population on Douglas, I could see where it would take 15 to 17 pounds a day to win. Now, history-wise, Douglas, it used to take that every day to win, on an event back years ago. And, I think it's going to get back there. There's a lot of fishability to it in that lake. And would I want to go back? I'd want to go back if logistically they could fix some of the, logistics for parking and having a big event there like that. I would like to go back if they could figure out some of that. It was kind of a nightmare, and it's not anything the NPFL did or what they had. I mean, I had somebody ding my trailer, and it was so tight, and it's just, they're not quite ready logistically for, like those type of tournaments coming in, they're working on it. They have that upper parking lot they made, but I think the coordination needs to be between the city and the Tennessee State Police, Parks and Wildlife, all of them. It was just like everybody was on a different page, and it was unfortunate, but that was the only thing I honestly would knock, in general for the whole event. It just sucked with parking. It sucked with getting your boat out. Now, the dock was absolutely awesome. They had a lot of places for us to tie up, and it wasn't a sharp, jagged dock, or anything. They have that stuff, but parking wise was pretty tough. So with that many guys up there, and then spectators coming in, it was a logistic nightmare, and I know the NPFL felt it on that one. So we all did, to be honest with you. So, man, you know what, Douglas? It just broke it. I just had an opportunity, and I choked it. That's the best way to put it. I choked it. Blah, 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 I choked. Okay. But we're looking forward, to moving on here. We dropped in points just a little bit, but, this being my rookie season on the trail, as we're going to these lakes, you're always going to grow into a position. I'm growing as an angler even more every single event. I'm not saying that I wasn't ready to do it, but you're realistically never ready for those positions once you go into those. You're always going to grow into a position in life, no matter what you do or who you are or where you're at. So I've already did my hot wash with myself. I sat down and I talked about to myself, like I wrote down what I did wrong, what I could have done better, and how I should have performed in a different rate. And when you have a lot less, and what's a hot wash? Hot wash is, I don't really care about what I did that was good that entire event. I could care less. I want to look back at the event and it's like, what could I have done better? Could I have done this better, or could I have done that better? And I had a lot less hot wash negatives on this event than like I did at Norman. So I improved. It's an improvement. We still can improve on things to make things better. So overall, I'm pleased. I am pleased. So we're getting ready to head into Eufaula now. Eufaula in June can be tough. It could be great. The lake right now is high. We're definitely going to end up fishing there, and it's going to be most likely high. And it's going to stay high. We're getting a lot of rain in general. They're getting a lot of rain up there in Oklahoma and all that still. So the lake is going to fish different. We got to start doing our homework on that. And this is going to be another grinder. I think Eufaula, I've got history on Eufaula, and it is a stinking grinder. Sometimes 10 pounds can win a single event in a day up there. So it's going to be a game of make the right moves at the right time and hope that you get the bites that you need. That's what it's going to come down to. That's it. That's all it's going to come down to. Eufaula. So, but anyways, well, hey, that's going to wrap up Douglas. Hey guys, I appreciate everybody watching. Hit like and subscribe. Check me out on Facebook, TikTok. I really appreciate each and everybody's support. If you haven't followed me on YouTube, I'd really appreciate if you could. It doesn't cost you anything. It just helps me continue to grow. So if you're watching this from my Facebook followers, smash like for me. Hit subscribe. Leave comments. I'm all about comments. So like to talk to engage with my fan base. I absolutely love that. And hey, as always, God bless you. God bless the United States of America. Until next time, everybody. Marler, out.